Okay, we're going to continue here from our last lesson, our last two lessons. We're still on zoning and plan boards, and this is for any state in the United States, zoning actions and variances. So let's look at our zoning actions and variances. Moratorium. See what that is. Our schools were overcrowded, and we thought we'd have to put a halt to any new development. And he wants a variance on a permitted use within in a zone. They have to go to the zoning board of appeals, right? A variance, as everyone in the room probably knows, is a permitted deviation in the requirements of the zoning ordinance. So it could be something as small as insignificant as a 9.5-foot setback, where a 10-foot setback is required. You know, if a property owner wants a variance, they have to apply to the zoning board of appeals. So this is good to know. If you ever have this issue in your neighborhood, you need to go to the zoning board of appeals. So if you have a client that has an issue with something, that's what you could tell them. That's why it's kind of good to know these things, because if you have a client, if you get a buyer or seller, when you become a real estate agent, and they have these types of questions, you know how to answer them. The two basic types of variances are use and area. A use variance allows the owner to use the land for a purpose that would be prohibited by the current zoning. So let's say they want to have a lemonade stand. The lemonade stand grows to a complete business, and they're trying to turn it into an almost commercial property. So they're not zoned for commercial property on this land. They're zoned for a single family home. So they would have to go to the zoning board and get approval, and more than likely they're not if they have a single family. If they have a farmland and got a lot of land, they probably could do that. But if you're in a pre-approved development, they're probably not going to do that. But that's an example, a far-fetched example of that. To get a variance approved, the owner has to show the current zoning restrictions are causing the owner unnecessary hardship. For example, so the economic benefit or use of the property is eliminated due to zoning. The hardship is unique to this property and not something endemic to the whole neighborhood. And the requested variance will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. And that's what I mean by the lemonade stand. If this turned into a commercial property where you have a lot more traffic going in and out of the home and cars are parked all over the place, this would definitely change the character of the neighborhood. The hardship that is being claimed is not self-inflicted. If we approve a use variance, we'll grant the minimum variance needed to address the unnecessary hardship. An area variance allows the owner to use the land in a way that is not normally allowed. We had one come up just last week where the owner of a lot wanted to build a home on a property that was zoned for 10,000 square foot lots. It's undesirable or determinant to the nearby homes. And I know this stuff is pretty boring. And if I ever did this again, I would probably do it in a PowerPoint presentation where we got some pictures, because these videos usually don't do great because people get bored from watching them. But if you're trying to pass a test, you can just listen to this if you get tired of looking at it. I do know it's boring because it's boring for me to make, so I'm sure it's boring for you, but you need to get through it any way you can. And if this is better than a book, in my opinion, seeing it on the screen, getting these little questions here to help you, having little tests in between will keep you going, because if you're just going to sit here and read dry material, it can get pretty boring. This is not the best way I learn either, so I don't like to teach it that way, but we already started on this, so we're going to finish it up, because that's what I teach in my videos a lot. You need to start You need to finish what you start, okay? So that's the thing here. We're going to finish what we started because we already got like 90 some videos, so we're just going to keep on trucking through it. And if nobody wants to watch it, that's good. And if it helps somebody, that's awesome too. I don't get too many comments on these either, so I don't know if it's actually helping anybody or not. But it would be good to know, maybe in 5 years from now, when this is still online, somebody will comment and say, oh, this has actually helped me. Thank you so much. Okay, an area variance. All right, so aerial variance is called, it's detrimental to the physical and environment conditions in the neighborhood. So is it causing environmental issues? It's zoned for 10,000 square feet when there was only 95. I mean, this is 500 square feet that these people are losing. So that's a lot. So I would definitely go to the zoning board on that. Special permits are called conditional use permits and might be allowed if someone wants to use the property in a way that really isn't in accordance with zoning. Like a golf course. I was thinking the lemonade stand, but the golf course is another one. It's granted for use that's not permitted in the zone, but requires a special permission of the planning board. A special permit requires a public hearing. That community has to agree that this is going to be okay. If it doesn't require that the property owner shows hardship because of the current zoning, as long as it's in harmony with local zoning ordinances, and it's beneficial to the community. One thing I'll mention is the non-conforming zone. When zoning is first placed in an area that's not resident to the zoning, an existing issue that doesn't comply with the zoning or grandfathered in. This is called a non-conforming use. And the new owners will usually have to comply with the current zoning. All right, now we got done with all that boring stuff, right? You probably have no clue what I'm talking about. Temporary halting of new property development with the community's best interest in mind. Did they say this would be a temporary halt? All right, let's go to the other ones. Permitted deviation. Permitted deviation. I would say special use. Allowed use in a zone that is normally permitted in the zone requires the permission of the planning board. Allows the owner to use the property that was, okay, that's special use, I think. Permitted deviation in the zoning. I don't see anything about temporary halting. All right, we're just going to guess and come back and fix it. I have no idea. Okay, allows the owner to use the property even though it doesn't meet the property line. Let's see how we did. All right, so we got 2 of them wrong. All right, so let's see. Permitted deviation is probably variance. Allowed use of a zone that's normally not permitted requires the planning board or a legislation body is special use. All right, so special use. Special use usually has to go to the zoning board. Okay, the planning board, zoning board is the special use. That's the difference because it's almost the same exact thing here. All right, so we got this one right, moratorium, even though it doesn't say temporary holding. It doesn't say it's going to temporarily halt the property development. So that was kind of tricky. Okay, non-conforming use. Okay. let's go back and take this again. All right, so if you want to take a picture of these to remember, temporary halting of new property development, moratorium, permanent deviation in the requirements of the zoning ordinance, variance, allowed use in a zone that's normally permitted in a zone, special use, non-conforming use, it does not meet the current zoning regulations. All right, use in area part 1. All right, let's see. This type of variance allows the owner to use for a purpose that wouldn't otherwise be permitted by the current zoning. Without the aid of this variance, the property owner would lose the economic benefit of the property. In order to get this type of variance, the property owner must show the hardship is unique to and not an endemic to the neighborhood. Right, this type of variance allows the owner to use the land in a way that isn't normally allowed. Undesirable. I want to say use. This variance can be undesirable and detriment to the nearby properties. Okay, it'll be like kind of building a porn video shop, right? You know, in the backyard, in your backyard or something crazy like that. It would be undesirable to the rest of us. In my neighborhood that I'm currently living in, somebody set a house on fire. So this is a detriment and undesirable to the rest of us that are living in this community. This is area. Okay, let's look at this. Allows the landowner that isn't normally allowed. They're calling that area. Says use the land that isn't normally allowed, physical and dimensional. Okay, it doesn't really say that here, but it's what it's saying is the right answer, so that's what we're going to go with. Okay. All right, let's try these again. All right, let's check it, and then we'll go through it more slowly so you can get a screenshot if your heart desires. This type of variance allows the owner to use the land for a purpose that would otherwise be prohibited. It is use variance. It's good to know some about zoning, and this goes for anything in the United States, not just the state of Maryland. I don't know. It doesn't apply to international because international has their own laws. So I can't answer that. But if you are from international and you're studying and trying to get your real estate salesperson license in the U.S., this could help you understand it. Without the aid of this variance, the property owner will lose the economic benefit of the property use variance. In order to get this type of variance, the property owner must show the hardship is unique and not endemic to the neighborhood. This type of variance allows the owner to use the land in a way that's not normally allowed by physical or dimensional requirements of zoning. Area variance. The variance can't be undesirable or a detriment to other properties close by would be another area variance. So you have to ask yourself if it's affecting one homeowner or the entire neighborhood. And that might be a good way to remember this. Is it affecting a property owner or the entire neighborhood? And for this one, see, for area, it's nearby. That's a good way to remember this. But this one also does that. Will not alter the essential character. So that would be use. What are you using this for? The property owner must show that the hardship that's being claimed isn't self-inflicted. And that's another use. The result of the variance can't be achieved through any other means. This sounds like area. Achieved by any other means is area. The impact of the variance would be insubstantial. Would be use, right? I think, because if it's substantial, it's area. The resulting change would be detrimental to, I think this one might be area. Use area. The insubstantial. Alright, I'm going to switch it and see what happens. Oh, got it right. Okay. I thought this was almost the same as the last one. The first two were use variance, and the last three were area variance. Alright, the property owner must show the variance wouldn't alter the essential character as use. The property owner must show the hardship as being claimed isn't self-inflicted. Use. The result of the variance cannot be achieved by other means. Area variance. The impact of the variance would be insubstantial. It's an area variance. The resulting change would not be detrimental to the physical and environment conditions. It would be an aerial variance. Oh, I love this new modem I got. My God, it's moving so much faster. It's like awesome. A special use permit requires a public hearing. I think so. To obtain a special use, a property owner must demonstrate hardship due to the current zoning. I think so. A special use permit is also known as a use variance. I don't think so. The zoning board of appeals will usually grant a special permit if proposed use is in harmony with local ordinance and laws. Before the zoning board of appeals can grant a special use, the planning board must give special permission. Okay. All right. So this one, we got them almost all right except for two. You do not have to demonstrate a hardship to current zoning restrictions to get a public use permit. Okay. All right, let's try this one more time, and then I'll let you take a picture. Okay, let's try again. All right, let's go back through this one more time. You can take a screenshot. A special use permit requires a public hearing. This is true. To obtain a special use permit, a property owner must demonstrate hardship due to the current zoning restrictions. A special use permit is known as a use variance, is false. The zoning board will usually grant a special use permit if the proposed use is in harmony with local zoning. Before the zoning board of appeals can grant a special use permit, the planning board must give special permission. This is true. All right, so we're on lesson 4, and then we'll have a quick unit exam with 6 questions. All right. It's great. All right, so that was a quick lesson. I'm glad I left that in there. I love those 1 second questions for all right, let's go on to our unit exam. These are for the last 2 videos if you've been following along. Hopefully YouTube will put them in order. I don't know. But just look for planning. I usually put the subject in the header, so that might help you. All right, if an individual wants to use their property in a way that's not permitted by zoning, they must request for a variance. To which of the following groups? I have no idea what the right answer is here, so we're just going to guess and hope that we pass it. All right, Damien and Sandy bought a lot with a condemned house. They want to tear it down, build a duplex. Unfortunately, the property is zoned for single family. If they can make a case for economic hardship, what may they apply and be granted for? Maybe use. It could be area too. I don't know. That's a tricky one. But that could be a good question on the test. And I could see them putting that kind of question on the test too, by the way. Mariah was appointed a 2-year term on a Garden City Planning Board. She looked forward to meeting her fellow board members and working collaboratively on issues that affected their town. She's been told the first order of business is a revision of the document that outlines the community's long-term needs and provides guidance on capital budgeting. What is this document called? I would say comprehensive master plan. I have no idea if that's right. We'll find out if we're wrong or right. Considering where the pipelines and utilities can be located and their impact on the overall look of the subdivision, the factors are I don't know what TDR means. I should have broken that down because I have no idea what that means. I would say district zoning, I'm guessing here. If the community isn't growing in an orderly fashion, which local land use group is at fault? Planning board, I would think. The PTA. Isn't that for high school or something? Which group ensures the community growth is controlled and orderly? Oh, God, please. All right, let's see how we did. I have a feeling we failed. Yep, we did fail. Let's see which ones we got wrong here. All right, this one we got wrong. It's overall look is I can't even pronounce that. Topography. Oh, the planning board. Okay, community growth is controlled and orderly is the planning board, not the HOA. Okay. All right, we got to go back and take this again real quick. Okay, so let's just look at it for 1 second so I don't get the same. They usually do different questions, by the way. Sometimes they'll put 1 or 2 of the same one in here, but they usually switch it up. So we'll get different questions. So if you need to take any pictures here, these are good questions, and I can see these being put on the exam for sure. Comprehensive master plan. The typing is topography. And this is the planning board. Okay. We're going to go back and take our test again because we can't get to the next section without passing this test. Hopefully we'll pass it this time. I think you got to get 5 out of 6 right. All right, the legal description of the project, the easements, the traffic pattern are all considered when a local planning board a community that undertakes a comprehensive master plan is taking the first step in urban planning, using the zoning map. Using the zoning map as the basis, I think it's the first step in zoning. Which of the following describes a census tract? Geographic area developed in a community identified by numbers. I told you we got all new questions this time. Municipality XYZ had created a document that regulates the permitted land use and zoning classifications. Municipality XYZ has created, while staying in the parameters of the comprehensive plan, I don't even know what SEQRA document is or TDR. They need to spell that stuff out if they're asking these questions. All right, I'm going to say this because I don't know what those other two things are. Which local land use group has the dual focus of livability and quality of life? Which local land group? Well, I know if I'm having a low quality of life, then I need to go to the planning board because they're the ones that are the problem, right? Land divided into lots for development. No, still got two wrong. We're going to be taking this again, guys. All right. We should do this live when I get like over 10,000 subscribers. Maybe we can start having like little live classes. That would be the goal of this channel. All right. Let's see. The legal description of the project is reviewing a developer's project plat. All right, what was the other one we got wrong here? Zoning ordinance. Okay. I don't even know what these two things are. I don't even remember seeing them in our resources or anything. That'll be my complaint over this study guide. They need to tell us what these acronyms stand for because we're learning here. We don't have all this memorized. All right. Quality of life as planning board. I think I'm going to complain. About my quality of life. I'm going to go to the planning board and tell them. All right, we might get some repeat questions now since this is the third time we are taking this. Okay. All right, if it goes on longer than this, we'll have to do another. I'll have to do it on my own without recording. Okay, developer A has a project plan that doesn't conform with regulations. He makes a change request. What is the group he goes to for the change request? I think the zoning board. All right, New Day Corporation application to build a new mixed income housing development was denied because the Springfield has halted all new development until after city elections. What did Springfield enact? Moratorium. Anything that's halted is a moratorium. Just think of it as death. It's halted. A topography depicts the physical features, vegetation, rocks, trees, as well as soil types. Blake is allowed to use his property in a way that's prohibited under current zoning ordinances. Because these ordinances would cause undue hardship for him, what gives him a permission? I want to say use. In local land use, the connection of utilities is considered development cost. Whose role is it to develop the comprehensive master plan? All right, let's see how we did. Oh, look at that. Great way to end this video. All right, we only have a few minutes because the video is getting long. So if you want to take a screenshot, do it now. We had to take this test 3 times. I had to take it. All right, anything that's halted is a moratorium, like death. That's the way you can think of that. Topography, anything to do with the land. This was a total guess here, and we got it right. Hardship for him is probably use. If it's hardship for the community, it might be area. Local land use. Connection of utilities is the development cost. And the role of the comprehensive master plan is the board members. I thank everybody who made it this far. I think maybe I'll give out Amazon gift cards for those who lasted this long on these boring videos, right? It's boring, but much needed. If you need something to put you to sleep, these might be good videos to watch, guys. I'll see you on the next one, okay?